2 years into the COVID-19 pandemic, we have not one, but many vaccines and many other effective tools. Just in the past week, this virus has demonstrated that it will not simply disappear. How many more lives and livelihoods it takes is up to us. Ending the pandemic is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice.
Samuel McConkey is a Deputy Dean at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and he joins us now live from Dublin. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program. Now, we heard from the World Health Organization that they're preparing a pact to be prepared for future pandemics. How important is it that they make this move?
I think we've all learned from things like Ebola, like Nipah, and now from SARS-2, also from MERS. There have been many, many outbreaks over my career professionally, is 31 years. So every 5 or 10 years, there's a new pathogen emerges and spreads, and we really need to be planned in advance to try and deal with those. I think it's a great idea. It does involve worldwide international cooperation and building trust between countries to work together on this.
Right, more and more countries are enforcing lockdowns and restrictions because of this new variant of COVID-19. Do you think it's better to be safe than sorry? Of course, taking into consideration how these lockdowns and restrictions affect economies and businesses around the world.
In Ireland, we have not taken an approach of closing our borders in response to this or even previous outbreaks. Borders, we believe, are really important to keep open for trade, for business, for humanitarian reasons. We're a very open economy that really depends on buying and selling and trade and travel, and we love to travel. So Ireland has not closed their borders. We do ask for increased testing. So when people come in from the specific countries, indeed any country, including Britain, we ask that people have a PCR test or an antigen test in advance. And we're putting in legislation potentially for mandatory quarantine, but we're certainly not closing borders. Unfortunately, new infections can frighten people, and that leads sometimes to what I would call xenophobia, fear of foreigners and fear of the different, and that's not a helpful response in the middle of an international pandemic. We really need to work together with other countries, whether it's Britain or EU or South African countries, to find a joint approach to dealing with these rather than resorting into sort of individual nationalism for each country. So I feel that's what our response in Ireland. We're trying to work with others rather than doing our own thing.
Looking at what we already know about Omicron at this stage, how cautious should we be in preparing to take on this new variant of COVID-19?
So I'm confident that the current vaccines will have some beneficial effect at protecting people from this new variant, because many of the other non-spike proteins are quite similar. I also feel that the vaccine companies have already started to make a version 2 of the vaccine that will work against the Omicron spike protein, and likely within 3 to 6 months, that new variant of the vaccine, a version 2 if you like, and updated like we have with influenza every year, will be widely available and shown to be safe in humans in clinical trials. I also think the small molecules, the inhibitors of the protease gene and the RNA polymerase gene of the SARS-CoV-2, that they will work for the old strain, the Delta, for Alpha, for the wild type, and for Omicron. So I'm expecting that we'll have new small molecule inhibitors that will bring a better 2022 for all of us than we had back in 2020. So I'm quite positive that this is not a huge upset. We need to have proportionate measures to respond to, but not just closing everything.
So is that what it's going to come down to? Every time a new mutation comes out, we have to get inoculated once more?
If there's a huge antigenic change to a big difference from the previous ones, then yes, I think we could be getting a vaccine every year against this that is continually updated against the new strains. That's quite a possible future over the next 5 or 10 years.
All right, Samuel McConkey, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour. It's a pleasure having you.